Hi everyone. I watched a video by Shabby Soul where she showed a journal cover she made using layers of sewing pattern tissue, like layered up together and then stitched together. And she used it for a cover. Now, some of them she put like a layer of lace underneath it to show through. And sometimes she used maybe really thin batting or paper or fabric. And she had like 6 or 7 layers, and then she stitched them together, and it made really a nice cover. So I was looking through my stash seeing if I had some pattern tissue. I couldn't find any right off, and I know I have some. I found it later. But I did find this star chart, which I thought, I've always been kind of looking for a way to use it. I didn't really think it would, work as paper, but it was interesting with all the red dots and stuff on it. So I used that, and then underneath that is a layer of lace, and then some darker colored paper to make the lace show up, and then some pattern tissue, and then some more lace on the inside. So one more layer of lace. So it makes kind of a soft, nice cover. I decided to add a pocket on the front and back by sewing on a piece of my fabric paper cloth that I made. So I did a tutorial about how I make paper cloth, and actually I thought I'd show you the pieces I made. This is one of the pieces I did on camera. So it's layers of paper on some tea-stained muslin, and came out really nice. I'm happy with it. It's kind of blah looking, so I'll probably use it as a background and definitely add something else on top as a focal point, but it could be used as a cover. And here's another piece I made on camera. This one is much more colorful, and I might put gesso on this one just to kind of unify the whole thing. We'll see. And it was done on some really kind of sheer linen type fabric I have. And as I said in the video, the pattern really doesn't matter, because if you look, you can see, you can't really see that pattern at all. And then after I finished the video, I did another one. And on this one, I just used all text mostly, or music sheets, or newspaper, things like that. A little bit of pattern tissue scraps. And I like how this one came out. I think it's very interesting. I'll probably use it, cut it up for tags, I think, or pockets maybe. And this is the back side. So I did use some tea-stained old dish towel for this one. It was an old linen dish towel. So there's those. So this is a piece of paper cloth here, and I thought it looked nice on here. And on the cover, I put these numbers. I have a bunch of these numbers, but when I got them at a thrift shop, but when I got home, I realized they only had the numbers 5, 6, and 8. I wish there was all the numbers, but I do like the way they look, so I glued a couple of them on the cover of this with some glossy accents. And then I made a pocket for the front, and it's just some Tim Holtz packaging, and I collaged an image that I stamped on a tea bag onto the back of it, and stitched some writing paper on there, and then added just a little tie with a strip of cloth with some stitching, and a little scrap here that was just on my desk. So that goes here. So this one is not for sale. But I do want to mention that I now have an Etsy shop, and I'll put a link to it in the description. I just opened it up a few days ago, but I do have some listings in there. Some of them are the ones that did not sell at Jessica Rapp's show and sell, and then some others that I had that I didn't send to her, so I listed a bunch of those too. Okay, so I put a Velcro closure on here with paper cloth, and on the inside is, so since I'm not selling this, I kind of had some fun with it. So I made, here's a no no snag paper clip with this photo, which has a little ticket here that says National Dessert Day. And then I wrote on the back, too many days in quarantine, which is kind of how I feel right now. It's like kind of like her. So anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. And then, yeah, the little dessert ticket. And this no snag paperclip has just a little bit of cloth on it, a little strip. Then on this side, this is actually wallpaper. And then on the back, I put tissue paper to reinforce it. And one of the Rook cards. And I made my own little trim here. I know that Tim Holtz is selling little bits of cloth with stitching on them, but I figured, well, I could make that, so I did. And this is one of my clusters that I just used to decorate this page. And here I had a little scrap of that wallpaper left, so I used that to make a belly band. And I put a tea tag on there. And just a little scrap of a Cavallini file folder. And this little envelope, which has just a little tag card thingy in it. And this is from a book of poetry. And here's another cluster that I've used I've turned into a tuck spot with this magazine picture. And this is a part of a page from my Impressionist art book, which I've been tearing up. And just a little bit of trim there, little cluster. This is the picture that was on the other side of the page. I love it when there's a picture on both sides and I can use it in a journal like this. This is a page from one of the Dawn Blanding books. I can't remember which one, but it's one I've turned into a journal. I still have the pages from the inside that I didn't use, and I just think that he does the artwork too, and I just love his kind of surrealistic paintings or drawings. He was an author that lived in Hawaii back in the 40s and 50s, and lots of his poems are about Hawaii. And beat dyed paper, some trim I made. This is from an advertising book I have. Most of it is foreign advertising from all kinds of different countries. And a page from my fern book. This is from the Griffin and Sabine books by Nick Bantock, and I added some tea bag paper that I stamped on. And this is from a book about massage. Tells all about how to give yourself a belly massage. And some avocado dyed paper with a little fabric scrap there. Another advertisement. I like this one. Funny. Some collage. This is from the reporter's notebook with all the lab tests in it and how to do them. Another page from the Impressionist book. The page, I had to cut this part of it off, but actually the part I cut off is over here, so this is actually a continuation of that page. And this, I added a little pocket here just for this little scrap thing. You know, I got this a long time ago at a gallery, and I've just always been looking for a way to use it, and so it seemed like it would fit in here, and it does. So I'm using it up now. Here's a little pocket I made out of some muslin that I tea stained and then stamped on and stitched. And it just has 2 journaling cards in it. These are poems of Edgar Allan Poe. And I made this embellishment out of a scrap of paper cloth, a paper flower, and a Tim Holtz brad. Just layered them there. And then put some fabric on the back. Here's a page from the book I have about inventions. And this is cut from an old Christmas catalog, I think late 60s. And title page of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. And then I added a pocket made out of paper cloth and just some a page from the North by Northwest flip book and a little scrap left over from the science book page I tore up. And this is from an old collage sheet I've had for years. And this is just from an advertisement. I just thought it was kind of funny. It's kind of interesting. Then I added some beads here on the strings. This was back when I was printing on tissue paper. I don't even remember how I did it. This was years ago. But I used to be able to somehow get my old HP printer to accept tissue paper that I glued onto a regular size piece of paper as the carrier. And this one came out pretty good, and I thought I'd add it to here. I'm kind of trying to use some of that old stuff up. This is from the invention book, and the clowns came from something I printed off Pinterest, and then this is part of an advertisement that seemed to go well with it. Cigar band, so a sticker and some tissue. Here's The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Nevermore. A cluster on some parchment paper. So the pocket here is an adding machine I cut from a catalog. And then I have this little picture, which it's a Tim Holtz one, but I've distressed it a little. And a little embellishment that I am putting in here and using as a tag. Another picture from the art book. And I had a scrap left over of this page, so I cut it out into a tree shape and just did some stitching on it. And this is an old late 60s reading book, and just thought this went well. Here's a scientist mixing up chemicals, and this is a page from the reporter's notebook with those experiments and stuff, medical tests and stuff in there. And maybe he's making marshmallow fluff, who knows. Another page from the advertising book, a tea tag, little pocket made out of one of my clusters with some a little tiny piece of stitched Frankenpage. A couple of stickers here to add to this page, and a stamp. Page from the Griffin and Sabine book. Here's the rest of the, oh yeah, this is kind of funny. So this is a page from the Fern book, which is a long, skinny book. So I had to fold part of it off because I didn't want to cut the pages. So I put this little stamp here as a flipper, and then you open it up and there's this mouth with some broccoli stuck in her teeth. I thought that was kind of funny. More advertising book, and I'm making these labels myself. I got some stamps from Amazon or maybe AliExpress, really inexpensive stamps in label shapes, and then I just stamp on like a piece of old, a page from those little mini ledgers I got. I think it looks kind of cool. Washi sticker, beat dyed paper, Cracker Jack sticker. Hey, this is the price you get now in Cracker Jacks. Just a sticker. Some more from the Don Blanding book. And this is also from that advertisement, which I think was for a film festival. Festival of Animation. So I just thought these were kind of cool, these pictures from the animated films. I especially like the one right here with the bugs and the spider. And then it's a little tag I've had. I tea stained it, which I thought improved the looks of it a lot. One of my little shipping labels. I got a bunch of those at Goodwill once. So here I had just a little piece of a page. It just came to here. So I made a notepad just out of some torn cream colored paper and stitched the edge and then glued it on here, so it kind of adds some extra writing space. And then I made a little pocket out of some collage paper, and this is a fish printed on some tea bag, used tea bag. And there's the back cover, or the back of the signature. And then, so on this piece of lace, I actually just made a little slit in here so I could just tuck in this little ornament, which I found at a thrift shop. I think it's so adorable. It's like a Christmas tree ornament. I'm sure it's pretty old. I've been looking for a way to use some of those. And that's it. Oh, and the tag. In the back I put, oh yeah, so just a little message clipped together for my friend that I'm giving this to. So I will just leave that like that. Okay, well, thanks for looking, and check out my Etsy shop. I'll be selling my journals, but also I'm going to be adding my felted gnomes, which I might show sometime in a video, and then some of the jewelry I make, which I use my own recycled tumbled glass that I do myself, and I do the drilling and everything. And then I also use seashells I've tumbled, which I make into jewelry also. So thank you very much.